All right. First things first. Fuck you, Dan Auerbach. You Nashville living in, Ohio denizening, Akron piece of shit. Nobody gives a shit about Akron. If LeBron James wasn't from there, literally it would just fade off the face of the earth. You're coasting on goodwill paved by Devo and the waitresses that you do not have. Also, you live in Nashville, apparently. Which I actually called on the first version of this episode that we tried to record. But there were issues with that because I guess you're still bitter that people think your 15-year-old album is just a little bit much. Okay?
As for context, we tried recording this again, but this time our internets were crapping out and we were talking over each other all the time.
Yeah, which never happens in normal circumstances.
So true. That time it did just happen for like every conversation. So yeah, everything seems to be going fine this time. So that's good. But I'm still blaming you, Dan Auerbach.
Yeah, because it's easy and it's fun.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Foxx and the Mage Podcast.
I am the Fox.
And I'm the Mage.
And on this episode 10, we are returning to our foundational text series with our second Swans and Sonic Youth episode. Today, we will be... Sorry, you go.
Oh, no, I was just saying, yep, go ahead.
So, the theme of today's episode is we are starting up the 90s. We are going with the first 90s record from each artist, Swans' White Light from the Mouth of Infinity and Sonic Youth's Goo. Both of these were both literally the albums that brought these artists into new decades, but also, in more ways than one, do serve as demarcation points in the careers of the artists. We'll get into as we talk about the albums more in detail.
Yep. So yeah. You want to start off with Goo?
Yeah, I'd say let's start off with Goo. Let's get right to it.
All right. So Goo was Sonic. So Goo released in 1990, and it was their first release on DCG Records, which is a subsidiary of Geffen.
Yeah,
which is where all the cool alt rock bands were at the time.
Yeah, think of DCG to Geffen Records what like Focus Feature is to Universal Pictures, or Fox Searchlight is to 21st Century Fox. It's where you put the weird.
Touchstone to Disney.
Exactly. It's where it's a subsidiary where you put like the niche products into one place.
Sometimes those niche products take off. I always remember that The Nightmare Before Christmas was a Touchstone release.
Mm-hmm. And Lord knows that A24 basically took being a weird subsidiary directly to its own label, and they've had great success with that.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Goo. This coming off of a very eccentric '80s that started off in some very noisy, abrasive spaces. Later, moving on to Daydream Nation's very dreamy, big music. We have Sonic Youth, a band trying to hit for a commercial audience, or making some steps toward going for a commercial audience without trying to compromise themselves. And Goo is, also a pre-Nevermind 90s album. One of the many ideas for what the 90s would be to come.
Yeah, these are both pre-Nevermind.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, but I guess it's more important here since Kurt Cobain was buddy with the fellows of Sonic Youth, especially Kim Gordon.
And I believe Thurston Moore even himself said that he would like it when they were recording this album. He said that they would like it if it sounded like Bleach. Notable,
I totally believe that.
Notable because Bleach was recorded on a budget of about $600, whereas this one, I believe, cost hundreds of thousands. It was way more expensive than anything Sonic Youth had ever touched before.
And given that they made a music video for every single song on this album, that makes sense.
Yeah, how much money did the record labels have in the 90s that they could just do that for a band like this?
Yeah, especially that they're on a subsidiary of an alternative label.
Yeah, that is. Oof, the 90s was very abundant.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but for what I can tell, Sonic Youth was pissed about being on the subsidiary and not the main label.
Right, which and like when this album came out, were hit with big accusations of selling out, and
Yep.
I'm sure it kind of guffed their goats that they got all this flack for moving to a big label, and then they didn't even get the big label promotion that it was promised. In some ways, it's kind of the worst of both worlds for them going in, but in spite of all of that, Goo did end up as one of the defining albums of '90s alternative rock.
Yeah, and I think it's still their highest selling album, isn't it?
That one, I believe so, and like the cover itself, instantly incredibly iconic. You see that thing
Oh
in
yeah.
posters on T-shirts everywhere. If you're watching a TV
Yeah.
show and somebody wants to mention that, or if you're trying to convey that somebody listens to cool music, you usually hit them with something from Goo or the Goo label, as opposed to something like the Butthole Surfers or the Jesus Lizard or Swans even, or any of the other bands that fit within this scene. Sonic Youth's Goo is like one of the most popular underground records of all time in the glorious contradiction that is.
Oh yeah. The early '90s was definitely a time where that wasn't an oxymoron.
Yeah, what a decade.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
you want to move into our first track, Dirty Boots.
Yep, and it's because of Dirty Boots that I keep confused. That sometimes I'll confuse the title of this album with their next album, Dirty.
Yeah, that can be tricky, one after the other. Although this
Yeah.
song does have its own callbacks to the previous Sonic Youth album as well.
Yeah, the opening line about referencing the candle.
Another Candle I Know, referencing both the cover of Daydream Nation, which prominently features a candle, and the song Candle on Daydream Nation, which has an album cover of a candle. It's a candle on a candle. It's, yeah, hard to miss.
Candleception.
Candleception.
Yeah. I also gotta point out the line "playing on a jelly roll," which is definitely a sex line. But that has new connotations if you listen to it in 2024 or 2025, where a certain country singer with that moniker is seemingly omnipresent.
What if Jelly Roll, he didn't get his name from Jelly Roll Morton and he was just a really big fan of this song? There's nothing to indicate that he listens to this type of music, but it would be funny if he just loved this one song.
I'm sure he at least knows "Cool Thing." That's a popular alt rock song.
That's the one everyone knows, so I would buy that.
Yeah, and also now I'm waiting for him to collab with David Guetta, and they interpolate "Cool Thing."
If David Guetta had balls, he would do that.
Shout out to his family. Yeah.
Shout out to his family.
But yeah, that line is definitely a sex line, and
Yeah, I had to look up what... And, it's funny, I've been listening to this song for a while. It never bothered me to see if that line had any actual meaning. And then I look it up, and yeah, it is an old-timey slang term for genitalia.
it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And then the song title, Dirty Boots, does convey a sense of... it's like something that's lived. It's something that has been... that was made to be worked and get dirty, and then it has become. So it is a song about living life and then getting stained in the process, or maybe the dirty boots are a metaphor for, like, a condom. Or it's even dirtier than that, and I'm just not even considering it.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I don't think I ever thought about the condom thing though, but that would make sense.
It's subtle.
Also the line making out with a witch in a coffee truck. I mean, someone who's willing to have sex with anyone, no matter how they look, just as long as they're a good lay, or have enough money.
Yeah, that's definitely the imagery that I get from it, and it does tie into this grander. I don't know. It's a very big sounding song. In a sense,
Yeah, and
it gets big sounding.
It's a great song to open up this album with. It tells you right off the bat that this isn't quite Daydream Nation, but we haven't given up this big sound, this big sprawling sound. We're just gonna dial it back a bit, and yeah, I guess we're gonna focus a bit more on the pop side, and that's absolutely not an insult when I say that. That's like my favorite part of Sonic Youth is when they take pop melodies and then make them as abrasive as possible.
Yeah, they are adept at that. I do remember seeing this music video on a Beavis and Butthead short once.
Oh yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I know they did Bull in the Heather too.
Bull and the Heather. That one I do remember because I think Bull and the Heather might be their most popular music video. Or
yeah, the one with Kathleen Hanna.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like that is ultimate. That is ultimate gender envy for me personally, right there, because Kim Gordon and Kathleen Hanna in a video.
Yeah, respect. So
yeah.
Now we got to get the gunsmith bitch in there. Really.
Yes.
Round out the triangle.
And stalking, but like gunsmith bitch is awesome too. Y'all watch the new Panty and Stocking, by the way.
It's good. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you can pirate it.
In Minecraft.
It's okay to break the law. No, it's okay. That's kind of all I have to say about Dirty Boots. It's just kind of this very dreamy song that kind of, it's like a 3/4 Daydream Nation. I would describe it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to describe this album as a whole.
Yeah. It's certainly a good way to describe track 2, if you're ready to move on to there. Yeah,
Tunic, Song for Karen.
Just a heads up, this is, I know we just started the album, but this is probably the most, the saddest Sonic Youth song that they've ever written.
Yeah, if you know anything about the real-life story of Karen Carpenter, that'll tell you all you need to know.
Mm-hmm. And how. So, yeah, this song is Kim Gordon singing basically from the perspective of Karen Carpenter, as well as the anorexia that would take her life. So we get these images of her fading away, of her stagnation, of her ascending into heaven. It's all very emotionally direct and hard-hitting.
Yeah, Kim Gordon portrays her by doing her signature speak singing style, and I think that really does add to the moroseness of this song.
You certainly.
It's it feels like we're listening to her inner monologues and sometimes her conversations.
Yeah, and all this is done with a very, I guess like the Daydream Nation that I would say sonically this reminds me of is Cross the Breeze, just in that it gets very wall of sound with some of it. I can see that very quickly, but then it does mellow out into something more. I don't want to say conventional, because what even is that in the context of a band like this? But it's certainly more, more radio friendly. Even though I can't imagine the song getting played on the radio.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Daydream Nation song that this reminds me of is Candle, and that's mainly because of the instrumental and the chorus. It has those same descending chords.
Yeah, I totally see what you mean. That is a very similarly done arpeggiated little riff.
Yeah.
And then
anorexia is does legitimately terrify me. Pretty much anything involving like the mind tricking you, and will eat me inside. Like especially if it's doing so in a way that will kill you. So yeah, this song was bound. This song was bound to uh, do a number on me.
And it certainly does. You know, yeah, that's the thing about, it's someone who've had an eating disorder myself for about half my life. Yeah, the ability to just kind of get in there and trick the brain, it's very haunting, because it is like kind of a needless situation in the sense that it's something that didn't have to happen, but again, Kim in the song does make references to the fame, the pressures from people around her to be perfect, to be successful, and that obviously drives the, mindset that causes something like anorexia nervosa to develop.
Yeah. Do you think that Sonic Youth may have played a role in the Carpenters' reappraisal?
I'm almost certain of it. I do think because Kim does have a fascination with Karen Carpenter, and I think getting the cosign from somebody with Kim Gordon's cred does make it cool to like someone who, was kind of seen at the time. The Carpenters were seen as like, poppy, chintzy, kind of substanceless, but hindsight has obviously been much kinder to them than their contemporaries have been.
Yeah, like I know that like there was that various artists compilation a few years later where if I was a Carpenter, where a lot of old bands covered Carpenter songs, and Sonic Youth covered Superstar.
Yeah, a pretty good cover of Superstar, I might add.
Yeah. So but yeah, I would say that. I think it would make sense to say that they helped the critical reappraisal of this band. It did come too late, but at least it came eventually, and we as a world have finally realized that the Carpenters were good all along.
Yes, we did, and thank you, Kim, and rest in peace, Karen.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, that was that was a lot. Next song is much lighter, thankfully.
Yeah, along with the rest of the album.
Yeah.
Thankfully. So track 3 is Merry Christ, which is pretty short and simple. It's kind of a fast rocker. I forget how long it is. It might be around 3 or 3.5 minutes, maybe even shorter than that. And it just seems to be about this, either the Mother Mary who's like hanging out with the punk kids and going to skate parks, or just this one girl that Thurston Moore knew.
Yeah, it seems very ambiguous. It seems to be just a device for the band to play a tune to.
Yeah, I do love Kim's supporting vocals in the song. The way that they get distorted through that kind of like a talk box or like a drive-through speaker kind of filter. I think that's a pretty cool effect.
I think it is, though. I will admit that this song seems like there's definitely a breather from the ride of Dirty Boots and the subject matter of Tunic, but I will admit that I don't really feel much from this song. Like it has a nice groove to it, but like that's kind of all I remember from it.
Yeah, I like the song, but it is kind of cookie cutter as far as like the 90s Sonic Youth was full of just these like hard rocking bangers, and this was one of them. And it's not particularly essential, but it is fun. I like it.
Yeah, and in general, this album took me that second listen to really get, because it kind of occurred to me that this isn't really an album that you can passively listen to.
Yeah, it definitely is one that, especially lyrically, I feel like there is a lot more going on than, because like with Daydream Nation, a lot of those lyrics are so vague and nonsensical that it is just something that you can kind of let wash over you without having, without missing too much. But then with this one, I feel like the songwriting is a lot more deliberate. It's a lot more pointed. It's a lot more focused, and it is something that if you put effort into paying attention to these lyrics, they will reward you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And do you have anything more to say about Merry Christ?
I will say that I'm pretty sure. I imagine on the CD it transitions directly into Cool Thing, but at least on Spotify it kind of just it goes into the opening Cool Thing riff and fades out.
Yeah, I've noticed that on on both Spotify and Apple Music. I think it is just a streaming thing.
Yeah, like I know some albums are like that. I know Demon Days is like that, where because I have heard rips uploads on YouTube of people uploading the album in full when I was a teenager, and the songs transitioned into each other directly, but on Spotify they don't.
Probably an error with burning things from the CD era to the digital era.
Either that, or maybe they just maybe some bands just upload like a separate streaming version that just fades out, or just ends. Yeah, just for the sake of playlists.
Yeah, which totally.
It would be cool if streaming services had an option. If there was an option for like a playlist version or an album version, and like if you just click on the album, then any song that's meant to transition to another will just do that directly. And if you want to just put a separate playlist, then it'll just do the fade out or end regularly. Play that version. That would be a cool feature.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan Auerbach, I know you're listening. Go tell your overlords at Spotify to go fix that. Now.
Dan Auerbach controls Spotify now.
Yeah, I mean, I assume he does. That's why they're like 70 Black Keys records.
True.
But anyway.
Now
we move on to the big song.
Cool Thing.
Track 4. The big song from the album. Probably the most well-known Sonic Youth song in terms of just being out there. Like, if you ever go to a karaoke bar and they've got like 40 songs by the Beatles and 30 songs by Garth Brooks and 35 songs by Tina Turner, they probably have one Sonic Youth song, and that Sonic Youth song is Cool Thing.
Oh yeah, like this song is arguably their biggest song for a reason. Like, this song is badass.
It is very loud. It is very pounding. It is very pumping. These drums are like perfect.
This makes me feel gender as fuck. I think the only other Sonic Youth song that makes me feel more gender is Bull on the Heather.
Good to know. Bull and the Cool Thing.
Yeah.
I burped. Anyway.
Yeah. This is probably the best. The best Kim Sonic Youth song. I don't even know about that because Cross the Breeze exists, but like, this is close at least.
Ooh, big statements. Big statements being made, everybody.
Yeah. It's kind of. I guess it is kind of hard to compete with Daydream Nation in general, but like, this song's still really good.
And this song is about. It's kind of complicated. Like we said, the songs on Goo are a lot more, I'll say, written with lyrical intention. And this one's a doozy.
Yeah, so from what I can tell, it seems to be a diss towards the misogyny of hip hop, and particularly LL Cool J. Like, there's so many references to him throughout this song.
Yeah, and I guess a full disclosure, for some of this history, I am cribbing a bit from the One Song podcast with Diallo, Riddle, and Luxury. who did an episode on Cool Thing specifically and kind of context surrounding goo in general. So shout out to them for a good episode. But basically, the story is that Kim Gordon was really into hip hop. She was like, she thought it was very fascinating and interesting, and liked LL Cool J in particular. She got to do an interview with LL Cool J for Spin magazine, and she found him a bit disenchanting, or was disenchanted by the experience, I should say. In part, I think he said he was like unfamiliar with the nuances of punk. He said she asked him, "Do you like rock music?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I like rock music, Sonic Youth, Bon Jovi, all that kind of thing." I guess she didn't take kindly to being compared to Bon Jovi, even though if you're not
Ain't fair.
Yeah, but I guess if you're not, like, if you don't know anything about rock and roll, it is kind of easy to just kind of assume those two things are the same.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, especially if you're in that scene, you're like, and you're in the punk scene. The whole point is that you're rejecting the mainstream norms, and Bon Jovi is like the most mainstream there is.
Oh yeah, the pinnacle of like 80s mainstream rock. And like this was before like Nirvana had kind of like wiped away all of those like 80s hangers on. So that was still like the scene of rock music at the time was Bon Jovi.
I know Kurt also said similar things about hip hop, that he loved it, but he also denounced the misogyny of it.
Yeah, that is the other thing, because like in that same Spin magazine, LL Cool J did say some things about women, about feminism, that clearly rubbed Kim the wrong way. And then this song was written as kind of a response to that, kind of comparing in many ways, some unintentional, the experience of Black Americans to women in America, using like a lot of feminist talking points. And even bizarrely enough, Chuck D appears on this song during that breakdown verse, during that breakdown bridge, to kind of be her hype man. And the more I think
Chuck
about
D
this,
being the hype man for once,
that is like very, on a conceptual level, that is very funny. That he's like Flavor Flaving.
Yeah.
But it is like also kind of like, the more I listen to it, the more confused I am, because like Chuck D has never said anything publicly, to my knowledge, about this song. The story seems to be that he was at Public Enemy was recording Fear of a Black Planet around the same time. Kim was a fan, invited him to come on. The thing that Chuck D and LL Cool J were both signed to Def Jam at the time, so I'm not really. I kind of wonder if he knew that he was going to be on an LL Cool J diss track. I kind of wonder if he even knew what the song was about, because it seemed like, I don't know, if you really listen, it kind of sounds like he's being sarcastic, which does make me wonder, is this really a diss song about LL Cool J, or is it a little self-deprecation on Kim's part for being the type of clueless white woman to just like look at LL Cool J, say, "Oh, he's awesome, I bet he agrees with me on everything."
I feel like I do feel like that is part of the song itself. I feel like that ambiguity between which way she's going is adds to the mystique of the song.
Oh yeah, if you wanted to like kind of think about this, or like chew on it, what it might be meaning, what it might be like really trying to say, even like beyond through all the layers of what it's obviously trying to say. This song gives you a lot to chew on.
Yeah, totally. And this is the kind of song that you put on sunglasses to while driving.
Oh yeah.
Like you become the cover.
Yeah, you become the cover. You take your sister's boyfriend, you kill your parents in Minecraft, and then hit the road.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll draw a parody of that cover.
It's good territory. You'd be in well company.
Oh yeah. So yeah, So this, actually don't even know if I would call this the best on the album now, but like definitely at least top two.
I don't know where I would rank it on mine. I think there is a part of me that does. I feel the song suffered from overplay just because of having to choose it as like the one Sonic Youth song every time I play Guitar Hero. But it was big for a reason. It took off, and it is very weird with its pounding drums, its very layered, noisy guitars, its spoken lyrics about being very confrontational about its politics, whatever they may actually be. And it's like way more ambitious than your typical big radio hit. And if this had to be the Sonic Youth song that everybody knows, I don't mind that.
Speaking of the, we talk about the instrumental. Pretty sure it's that guitar, like on the drum after the spoken bridge. That doom 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 doom. I fucking love that tone so much.
That is a good tone. It is very, very strong. I love. I know, like it's done a few times on the album. There was a lot. There was some of this in Tunic, Song for Karen, but when Kim like slides the bass, like you can feel the finger go from like one of the lower frets to the upper ones. It shows. It's like a real like bass, like movement. I don't know. Yep. I wish I remembered what that thing was called, but it's happens a lot. It's very cool.
Yeah, Sonic Youth does love unconventional tuning. I guess that's kind of what they built their whole brand on.
Very true.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about Cool Thing. What about you?
Yeah, that's all. One could talk all day about Cool Thing, so I think we should best move on to the next track.
Moat.
Not Mote.
Yeah. The only Lee Ronaldo song on the album.
Yeah, they really wanted that mainstream push, so they told Lee Ronaldo, okay, you're going in the box and you're not coming out until we're ready for you. You only get one song. Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna make it a big one.
Yeah, and he's actually singing instead of singing,
which is interesting. It is novel.
Yeah. Also, the song opens up with changing radio stations. I wonder if those sound snippets are from anything in particular.
Yeah, I kind of wonder too. I guess I always assumed they just took a microphone to some radio static, because that's sometimes how they do things. But if it is a more deliberate reference, I think that went over my head.
Like, who knows? Maybe it could be like snippets of the album.
Oh, that's possible. It's been done before.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, my favorite part of the song is the drums.
The drums are, the whole album. The drums are great. These are some good drums. I do still love that bass, that movement, guitars. Everything is like very professionally done. Professionally done. Sorry, it's late, y'all.
Yeah. So as per Lee Ronaldo tradition, this song is based on a poem.
The poem "I Emotes" by Sylvia Plath.
Yep. And also, I know nothing about it. Just like the other poems that Lee Ronaldo likes to reference.
I did. Going into this, I did read "I Emotes" and I tried to compare it to the lyrics of this song. And basically, the conceit of eye mote, an eye mote is like a tiny speck of dust that gets caught in your eye and then distracts you. And then the concept of the poem is that an eye mote is distracting someone from a serene, peaceful scene to remind them of traumas that they have experienced. And this is kind of what Ronaldo's going for, that general idea, but with his own words.
And also his not words, like in that instrumental breakdown that takes up the second half of the song.
Oh yeah, that breakdown is one for the ages. They haven't completely sold out here, people.
I kind I'm actually not that sold on this breakdown.
Sorry, I was drinking water. I think the breakdown is. I think it is. It should be noted that, like, on an album like this, that is pretty condensed, pretty packed. You don't get a lot of chances for this kind of big instrumental experimentation, and I feel like it's nice to see that on the album, even if it doesn't. I think some of the breakdowns on Daydream Nation are a lot better. They're bigger. They sound nicer. But I do think that, the second half of Moat is welcome on an album like this.
Yeah, that's kind of what brings it down for me, is that I know what they're capable of. They did better before on Daydream Nation, and they would do better later on some of the tracks on Washing Machine, particularly the Diamond Sea.
No, yeah, I mean, the Diamond Sea, that's going to be their gold standard.
Yeah, but like it's not even just that. Like it's not even just that. I would say the title track, "The Washing Machine," too.
I need to listen to that one again.
That is for another day.
Another potentially controversial day.
Yep.
You have anything else to say about Moat?
No, that's all I got.
That's all I have as well. So we can move on to the next track, My Friend Goo.
Yep, and we got more Kim. It's also a short song. It seems to be picking up the pace after the instrumental washout of Moat.
Yeah, it goes back to a more conventionally structured song where Kim is singing about this friend Goo she has of hers and the little misadventures that she goes on and the things, which apparently is a reference to this Raymond Pettibon short film, Sir Drone. Raymond Pettibon being an artist who illustrated the album cover, incidentally, and I guess he made a short film about these people who try to start a punk band and, go on misadventures. One of the characters is named Goo. Other characters are named Scooter and Jinx, which is the name of the penultimate song on the album.
Yep. Yeah, I don't really have many thoughts on this song. Like it is neat. Like I never picked up on that reference, so I guess that is cool that we're going to the album cover artists into the songs. Like yeah, it just kind of exists to me.
Yeah. This is kind of the same thing as this is Kim's Mary Christ. Kind of fun, punchy, catchy, but inessential, ultimately.
Yeah.
I guess one other thing is that should be worth noting is that the album, apparently the name of the album does come from this song. As we mentioned before, this was Sonic Youth's first album on a major label, so they did what every former noise rock band does when they get signed to a major label, and they tried to push the boundaries to see what they could get away with.
Oh yeah.
So the working title for this album was "Blowjob!" exclamation point. They wanted to see how the label would react, and predictably, the label was like, "Please change this." And apparently, they went with Goo based off of this song on the album.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Blowjob and Goo are not that separate from each other.
I wonder if the higher ups at Geffen understood that. I get the feeling they did not.
I get that feeling too. I wonder why.
But anyway, you ready to move on to Disappearer?
Yeah, Disappear is actually the first Thurston track in a while.
Yeah, he has been off for a bit, especially with that 7-minuter Ronaldo got.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see that give quite a few songs to Kim and Lee back to back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, though, the pacing of the album is pretty nice. We really do get the sense of all these different components of the band working together, and I think Disappearer it's kind of one of the best Thurston songs on the album.
I agree.
It is very. It's one of those songs that's mellow with its guitars, but then the drums are very loud and punching. This is one of my favorite SY songs going back to when I was a kid, and I was discovering these songs by just finding YouTube videos of ones that people had uploaded.
Nice.
I'm an adult, and I find out that the song is about signs. Just the concept of like a lit sign telling people information.
Yeah, that Sonic Youth could write a song about anything and make it work.
Yeah, which it is like, so again, like the concepts are so much more direct and interesting than on Daydream Nation, which, like I can't, you could tell me that like the song Sprawl is about, William Gibson novels, but it's not really about anything. It's about, that breakdown at the end. And it's about, Kim Gordon singing. But Disappearer, it is one where, Thurston is like singing. It's very mellow. It gets, kind of noisier as the song goes on, but it's very shiny. It does give the feeling of you driving late at night and then neon lights are just burning themselves into your eyes.
Yeah. What's that movie that everyone parodies with someone walking towards the camera while neon signs just fly by?
Ooh, I know what. I know which one. I know that reference, but I don't know which one it is. I'm gonna say Midnight Cowboy, and then I look forward to Liz telling us what the name of the actual movie is as soon as they get to this part.
Yes. Yeah, it feels like the kind of thing where where people wouldn't know the name of the movie, but everyone knows that parody specifically.
Yeah, the signs walking past in the black background. That's a pretty like iconic image, and it is a good way to convey a lot of information without overwhelming the audience with a whole bunch of signs and a whole bunch of lights.
Yeah, this song is the soundtrack to that.
Yeah, it's as good as I can describe it.
I do think it rules too. I do think it's understated in the way it kicks ass.
Yeah, this is one of those good ones where Thurston was like his voice does sound like good when he is like under singing. He's just being very quiet.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds very nice.
And then Mildred Pierce happens.
Mildred Pierce, which honestly might be one of my favorite songs on here just because of how ballsy it is.
The song is funny.
It is funny. It's a 2-minute song. The first minute and a half sets it up that it's going to be more of a conventional SY song. It's got these, pretty standard drums, pretty normal guitars. It's going. And then the last 30 seconds is just probably like the noisiest, most abrasive I think this band has ever gotten.
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out whenever we get to the early stuff.
Yeah, okay. I guess maybe not has ever gotten, but certainly for this era, it is very. It does catch me by surprise every time I listen to it. I feel like this is a kind of breakdown that could rival some of Swans' more loud things, and it is done entirely for the sake of just misdirecting the audience.
I was just thinking specifically YRP2 off of Soundtracks for the Blind.
That's a good comparison, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's what when you were talking about that, it brought to mind that just a loop and then a snip and then Jarbo screaming, which that comes from a live performance of YRP off of their EP Detour Itsu.
Ooh. All right.
Yeah. I believe that version is called YRPRP.
Okay. Oh, hey, shout out Jarbo and that good-ass singing. We will be talking about Jarbo a little bit shortly.
Yep. And there are so many fucking versions of YRP. It's like your property. It's insane.
Nice.
Well. Yeah, so The screaming on here is like borderline screamo.
Yeah, and it does get like really like I swear to God, I think he's clipping at some point with his vocals. You can hear it like scrape along the edge of the speakers.
Yeah, it feels like this is probably the most Bleach-like song on the album.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable to say. Thurston, you got your wish.
Yep. Then, Cinderella's Big Score.
Yeah. The penultimate real track of the album. Like, I guess the real penultimate song is kind of an interlude. But, yeah, this song it's another Kim song, and it's about her brother.
Yep, who apparently she has described as brilliant, manipulative, sadistic, arrogant, and almost unbearably articulate.
Yeah, and I've read a little bit of Girl in a Band, Kim's autobiography. I hadn't finished the whole thing yet, but I finished the part where she goes through her childhood. And yeah, her brother was like a bully to her, very, again, like all of those things, like abrasive, articulate, but arrogant, just awful to be around.
Yeah.
Incidentally, as an adult, you'd get diagnosed with schizophrenia. That would kind of render him pretty much unable to take care of himself. So that's another bit of bitterness that I feel like does whenever Kim does talk about her brother. There is that, extra bit of sourness. And this, song is clearly, her heartbreak, or just her being upset that she can't have a normal sibling relationship because her brother's such a dick.
Yeah, this song is very moving.
It is very moving. But it is also one where I think the lyrics shine a lot better musically. I think it's a bit nondescript compared to the other songs, and because of that, it can make it hard for me to remember this one unless I'm really paying attention out to it.
That's totally fair. Meanwhile, I think the lyrics are so good that I was willing to start this song.
Yeah, I mean, damn, if I could give you anything, I would give you a kick. You'd rather have $1 than a hug from your sis. I mean, that's some good songwriting. It is very evocative.
Yeah. Then Scooter and Jinx happens, and it's just a swirling instrumental for about a minute.
Yeah, it is funny. We get the first real interlude track, unless you count Mildred Pierce, which I guess is kind of an interlude. But yeah, Scooter and Jinx, it's completely instrumental. It's a minute. They're just noodling around with something. It's nice, but it is what it is. It's an interlude.
Yep. And then we get what's probably my favorite song on the album, Titanium Exposé.
Ooh, good choice. This might be my favorite as well. Or at least it's up there, man. That is
so much. That riff is untouchable.
Mm-hmm. I remember, this was one of those songs I discovered when I was 15, and I would just replay that first minute over and over again because I was so enamored that they could make guitars sound like that.
I know, right? I didn't listen to it when I was 15, but when I first listened to it, it's still at the ripe old age of a little bit ago. This did blow me away. Even on that first listen when I wasn't feeling most of the album, I felt this immediately.
Nice.
Yeah, this is the closest they get to truly recapturing some of the big epic swirling of Daydream Nation.
I agree. It does have that grand. I guess I'd call it a whirlpool type of sense where it feels big and large, but it also feels like it's overpowering you, and it's kind of you're circling into something, like a force of nature, just kind of knocking you off your feet.
I do also like that it's not just trying to be Daydream Nation. It very much belongs on this album. It still has more. even more of pop sensibilities to it.
Yeah, especially so. Okay, so like this song is structured in. You've got that opening riff that's a minute, and then it gets into a mellower section that's the big meat of the song. Then it goes into the main riff again, and then we get an instrumental breakdown. But for that main, like the meat of the song, it's pretty mellow, like a lot of the other songs on here, and lyrically, this one is also kind of tricky to parse out. I interpreted this as like a love song, like a bizarre love song between Thurston and Kim,
Yeah, I can see that.
with its references to, you know, like Kim saying, "Can't you see me, sugar?" Feeling up the morning. Like it does kind of sound like these two punk kids who found each other and are willing to settle down because they found somebody worth settling down with, which I didn't think they would. And maybe that is like Kim and Thurston talking to each other. I like to think that because it's sweet and they weren't divorced yet, but
Yeah,
it could also just be a story, you know.
yeah. I don't think I ever thought about that. The song I guess I was just too busy. I was just too busy taking in the sound.
Yeah, and the sound is this might be my favorite sounding song on the album, and like it's good. Between like this, Dirty Boots, and Disappearer, it is like like God, these like sounds are just so mesmerizing, so enveloping.
Yeah, and it's also a hell of a way to close an album too.
Yeah, and yeah, like we said, this song does end with a bit of an instrumental breakdown. Not a huge one. It's like a minute of distortion, and I guess time to confess a sin. When I was 15 years old and I was listening to music by downloading it from YouTube to MP3 websites, I did use Audacity, or I think I used Goldwave at the time, which is another program. I would like cut off that last instrumental bit because I just wanted to listen to the pretty parts over and over again. Since I'm older, I do find that like sacrilegious that I ever did that, but I don't know if anybody else ever like edited songs on Audacity. You know, eh, nostalgia.
I have never done that.
Yeah, nor should we.
Yeah, I just let the song play.
Yeah, I don't know. I was 15. I was impatient. I was
Totally fair.
nudie. We didn't have streaming services. I just had a little shitty 2 mega or like 1 gigabyte MP3 player from the Walmart.
When I was 15, I was still listening to the radio. Pop music was still good at that time. Like it's good. Well,
I was still good.
it was good last year. It's kind of non-existent this year, but like it was still good in 2015. It wouldn't go to shit until the year after. And it stayed there for a few years, but yeah, at that time I just listened to it on the radio, but I also found older stuff on the radio that year, like Green Day, and then I got into Green Day when pop music did go to shit.
Oh, very. Sounds like it
That's
worked
where
out.
that's where my musical journey began.
That's beautiful.
At least, well, when I say that more, I mean like when I started actively searching for music instead of relying on radio.
Very nice. And we're all proud of you for doing that.
Yay. Yeah. Sonic Youth Goo. This is definitely a hell of a way to enter a new decade. Especially one that would be prosperous for them, at least for a few years.
Yeah, they weren't the biggest winners of the 90s by any stretch of the imagination, and in fact there were like a lot of points where you are surprised they didn't have more success considering how popular they are now, but this decade really did codify the Sonic Youth as a staple of underground music. as a band that
Yeah.
cool people know, and as a band that is very influential, and even on a major label trying to reach a mainstream audience is willing to do these experimental things, these little these things that would alienate maybe less discerning audiences, or more discerning audiences, I should say.
Definitely also got help when Kurt Cobain shouted them out after becoming famous.
Got to shout out that Kurt. He was a tastemaker.
Yeah, and he never wanted to be.
Damn, what a tragedy.
But that's a whole thing I don't want to get into.
Yeah. And that was, Goo by Sonic Youth, an album that is incredibly well known. And we talked about it anyway, because now you know what we think about it.
Yeah.
An album that is not quite as well known, but maybe should be. Swans, White Light from the Mouth of Infinity.
Yep. White Light from the Mouth. I'm not gonna bury the lead. This is my second favorite Swans album.
It's number 2.
Yeah. And given how much I love Swans, I feel like that says a lot.
And what's your number one? Remind the audience.
My number 1 is To Be Kind. It's a basic bitch opinion, but I don't care.
No, it's basic for a reason. It is valid.
Yeah. So, White Light is also important. Is an important album in Swans history, and that it's the first album to be released under Young God Records, which is the label that Michael Gira founded after leaving the major label Uni Records, which The Burning World was on. He was highly dissatisfied with the production of that album.
Yep. When Sonic Youth was trying to go mainstream and play the label game, Swans was doing the exact opposite.
Yep. And to this day, Young God Records is hosted every single Swans release from this point on, and at this point they're exclusively releasing Swans.
So this album really is a demarcation point between the kind of underground, but between like the Swans of the 80s and the Swans where they would just be exactly what kind of Gira and company wanted them to be. No compromise, no real need to cater to people who weren't getting it. They started their own label, did what they wanted, and they found an audience pretty organically.
Oh yeah, it's like they tried the major label thing, it didn't work out, so they decided they're just gonna go back to doing what they're doing before.
Yep. And we're all the better for it.
I think it's also telling that I think it was Saved off of The Burning World is the last Swan song to ever get an official music video.
Yep. They did not play the music video game for most of their careers.
And that kind of helps them. I think, like with Swans, it's like the music just speaks for itself. Like they don't have any stage gimmicks either. Like, and their imagery tends to be very minimalist. So they just want you to take in the music.
Plus, it is hard to imagine songs like at this point, it wasn't like music videos in the 70s when it was the purview of, experimental and artsy artists mixing different mediums with each other. By 1990, the only reason to do a music video was to get on MTV, and I don't see any of the songs from this album trying to get on MTV.
Oh yeah,
that was not an intention.
Pretty sure they were interviewed by VH1 sometime around this time. Like I know they did some kind of interview during this. I wouldn't be surprised if getting shouted out by Kurt Cobain helped.
Mm-hmm. Tastemaker.
Yep. But yeah. So The Burning World was an album that was very different for Swans at the time because it was very somber. It was very conventional in its song structure. They're doing this kind of neo folk Americana sound, it was kind of gloomy, pushed out. Here, but there it felt like it was it was very commercialized. Like you could tell where the label stepped in to make changes. Here, it feels like they took what worked from that album, and they took out what didn't. They weren't told what to do by anybody, and so because of that, they doubled down on the gloominess to add a gothic neo folk affectation to it, and make the lyrics more blunt and depressing. And they also make the instrumental sound wide open. Like, this is probably the first Swans album that sounds massive.
Oh yeah, the first of the Swans massive era, which I feel like that is kind of what people associate with Swans. When people think of Swans, they think of music that is, as big as music can possibly get. And this is I do think that this is the first one where for the entire record, that's what they're going for.
Yeah, though this is massive in a different way. Like what they're most associated with, like the post-rock stuff is like cosmic. I'd say this is more like just sitting on a hill and looking at the clear sky.
I think that's a pretty good way to put it.
Yeah. And I also think that this album has Jira's best lyrics ever.
Well, we'll get into them, but yeah, this is another. Like Goo, this is one of those albums where the songs are very clearly about some things, and the more that you give yourself to pay attention to the lyrics, the more that you will get out of them.
Yeah, like Swan songs usually tend to be about things, but I feel like in their most popular era, like in the post-rock stuff, they're kind of abstract, and also in the early periods, they're blunt. Here I'd say they're poetic.
Yeah, there's definitely an attempt to try and balance out those two competing of being like blunt and being kind of poetic in its language.
Yeah, and they're also actually rhyming. Like that, like Swans actually rhymes in the 90s, except for soundtracks.
No, I'm gonna be real. I did not even notice that there was rhyming on this one.
They, and it makes sense because since he was focusing on the songwriting.
Yep.
Yeah, you want to get into the opening track?
Yep. Let us talk about the opener to White Light, Better Than You.
Yep. So Better Than You is, I think it's a very wonderful opener. Like it seems to be about this protagonist who is very egomaniacal.
Yeah, the entire song is here. Yeah, like an egomaniacal, megalomaniacal ego trip where he is just condemning the others for being worse than the narrator.
Yeah, but it does also feel like it's coming from a place of denial.
Yeah, I mean they're repeated so much and so often that you do get the feeling that this is some kind of insecurity manifesting itself, or at the very least, there's some kind of deeper meaning for why he has to, degrade this person that he's talking to so much.
Yeah, exactly. Because you get the feeling that he definitely fucked up somewhere. Whatever relationship there's a relationship that failed. You feel that he fucked up, but he's currently going through the stages of grief, and this is him at the first stage.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I would. Huh?
I also think that these key. Well, I just want to say that the very first sounds that you hear off of this song is, like, I don't know if that's a newborn baby or if that is a puppy squealing, but it's a baby something for sure. And it does, hey, this is our first record on our new label. It's the birth of the new label. And I know that, like, concepts of birth and life and entering this world, they are pretty prevalent in a lot of Swans music from this point onward.
Yeah, they made a whole album about it this year.
That they did.
And you can watch that episode, by the way.
It's free.
Yeah, that's also not the first time. No, okay, I guess probably no, it is the first time, but it's not the only time they would open an album with a baby sound. They also did that on The Great Annihilator. Like, well, okay, technically the baby sounds are in that opening track, but I guess they're not the first thing you hear, so maybe that's not entirely accurate.
Well, it sounds like it's trying to convey the same type of, like, oh, this is what you're supposed to be thinking. Oh, there's crying, and then just suddenly these big-ass keys. Honestly, some of the keys presets on this album kind of sound like the keys you'd get in, like, adult alternative from the late 80s, early 90s. Like, Richard Marx would probably use some of these key presets. It wouldn't sound like this, but I do recognize that type of dated keyboard tone that they use.
Yeah, that is kind of a thing about this album, about them in this era in general. It kind of does sound like the 80s, even though this is from 91. Like, this does sound like an 80s goth rock record.
Oh, yeah, it is definitely of its time, for better and for worse.
Like, particularly, like, Echo and the Bunnymen.
Yeah, that's a great comparison to them.
Yeah,
I agree with you there.
Yeah, they seemed like they were kind of late on the gothic post-punk train, but, like, they were still good at it.
Yeah.
They got some of their best lyrics from that era.
They seem to have done pretty well for themselves doing this sound, in the 90s when it wasn't as big as it was in the 80s, so it had to have been quality.
Yeah. And it gets better with the next song, Power and Sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. I do love the instrumentals on this one a lot. It's got a strong moving bass line, pounding drums, soaring synths. It's good.
Yeah, I'd say this is the first massive sounding Swan song.
Okay, yeah, no, it's definitely big in a different way than Better For You was big sounding.
Yeah, like it's not their first epic song. I think their first epic is Blind Love off of Children of God. But this is like, this does feel like it's pounding you, but in a different way than any other prior songs have. Like it's overwhelming you with both this giant wall of sound, and also the subject matter, which I would imagine is about politicians.
Yeah, it's we do get another kind of narrative-driven track where the singer on this song is talking about wanting power for the sake of having power, not even of necessarily doing anything in particular with it, but just wanting to have it.
Yeah, that is a common theme in Swan songs, especially in their early period.
Yeah, and it is like quite, it is very blunt when he's literally out there saying, right and wrong are foreign to me. I just want it because it's good. It's very, not hard to misinterpret.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be about politicians. It could just be the same protagonist. This could be his mission statement.
Yeah, or it could be about anybody trying to seek some kind of power, whether it's in religion or business or organizations or what have you.
Yeah, like I always saw the political angle because of the line, "I'll wash America with blood."
Well, yeah, that part is. As we have mentioned, Jared does have some pretty good politics, and I think, that one kind of, he's really like kind of saying what he means there.
Yeah, and like the early period was definitely the most overtly political, but like it's not like he ever shied away from it.
Right.
And yeah, like it's a very ominous song. Like, and it's also one of my favorites they ever did in this era.
Yep, it's easy to see why. It is very, yeah. I know it's good at what it does, and it is good at sounding exactly like it needs to sound.
Yeah, and so is You Know Nothing.
Which does get a lot slower and more reserved than the first two songs.
Yeah, this one just like this one you could probably play in a church, to be honest.
Yeah,
It sounds very angelic.
and despite the confrontational title, You Know Nothing, it's not really a song about chastising the listener. It's more a reflection of the fact that the world is this big place and the universe is even bigger than that. And in our lives, we only get to experience just a small part of it. So we don't really know anything that goes on in the world, truly, because we only have our own experiences to look at. It's not really like
Yeah,
insulting or mean. It's actually kind of a very like humbling sentiment.
exactly. It seems to take comfort in this fact because like, what else are you gonna do?
And I know I said this song was mellower, but then some of the ominous drums do come in around the 3 minute 30 second mark, and those are pretty sick. I do like those.
Yeah, my favorite part of the song is Jarbo's backing hums.
Those are some good hums.
Yeah, it's in general. I'll just say this about the album is that this is a much longer album than the Sonic Youth one. But like, it's like this is a 70-minute album. But like that's like at this point they were just making hour-long albums. Like I guess nothing compared to what they do later on, of course. But like I guess at this point the CD format had taken over, so they felt that they could just do these long albums from this point on and get away with it. And I think they could. I think they did.
Yeah, I mean the CD era, I would imagine being very kind to a band like Swans, because like not only can you have long albums, you could have long songs. You know, I feel
Yeah.
because I know that there are like some old song, like I think 20, was it that Rush's 2112 was like it had to be split between both sides of the same vinyl record.
No, no. The song was all on was just took up the entire side A.
Got got it.
I think you were thinking of "Thick as a Brick" by Jethro Tull.
You know what? I might have been, yeah, because that one is longer, and yeah, you if you have those like long songs, then you know in the vinyl era, then you have to split them between sides. But with the CD era, you know, so like a digital recording, that does give you the freedom to write, because like you know, Swans would have their fair share of songs that are like 30, 40 minutes in length, and you could only do
Yeah.
that in the post CD era.
Yeah, and even on this era, most of the pretty much almost every song on this album goes past 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it is one where they take advantage of the extra elbow room that the medium gives them for sure.
I feel they get away with it. Swans knows how to make time pass. They know how to make every minute worth it. They're like the only band I think that can get away with this regularly.
Yeah, and I don't think any of the songs on the album sound like they're using any unnecessary time. I think that you know the album is this long because it needs to be this long.
Yeah. So that's all I have. Is that all you had to say about You Know Nothing? 'Cause that's all I had to say about it.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. So next is "Song for Dead Time," which is probably the most Echo and the Bunnymen-esque song on the album.
Yeah, it's fair to say.
Yeah, and it's also the first song on the album where Jarbo takes lead.
Oh yeah, her vocals are really nice on this.
They really are.
And lyrically, this song is about. I believe it's using the death of the planet with the metaphor of the death of a human body, using its dying and decomposing as if Mother Earth was decomposing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like Swans is this is probably the most environmentalist that Swans gets.
Yeah, that one line about dying of thirst in a river feels like something that was, probably a lot more far fetched. Until hey, we actually do live in a place where there are rivers that can run dry. Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really think about about the song much compared to the others. I still love it.
Yeah,
I have
very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna take a sip. You can talk about the next song if you're done with this one.
Yeah, I guess I'm done. It is Mars what they explain. Yeah, Drobe, very good metaphors on that one. I like it. But the next song is "Will We Survive," which my dyslexic ass keeps reading as "We Will Survive," but it's not that. It's definitely more grand and imposing. A return to the kind of big massiveness.
Yep. We're back to the wall of sound.
The sound is a huge ass wall.
But first, Michael counts to 6. How many songs do you know that start off counting to 6?
It's hard to know. Most people usually count to 4 and then they stop because that's the number of beats in a common time measure. Counting to 6.
I guess people.
6.
I guess people don't normally count. Don't do a count when on 6/8 time songs.
Yeah, which I'm kind of surprised they don't, because you would think because it's uncommon time, that makes it trickier to work with.
Yeah, though. I guess it makes sense for the more imposing songs. Like 6/8 and 6/4 tend to sound imposing.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
That's why they have plenty of songs in that. They don't really play with time signatures. Most of the songs are either in 4/4, 6/4, 6/8.
Yeah, and those are like kind of the more common, uncommon time signatures.
Yeah. There is one song off the Glow Man has polyrhythms though.
Oh, okay. Maybe we should go.
That being the reworking of the song that Michael wrote for Sonic Youth. The World Looks Red.
Oh,
/ The World Looks Black.
Okay. Probably interesting. I'll have to go back to that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Will We Survive is kind of a breakup song. Kind of a mourning one's lost lover song. The lyrics are a bit more poetic here than they're on the more poetic side than the blunt side.
Yeah, the line that stands out to me the most is "We can crucify tomorrow."
The one that stuck out to me was that line about his lover swallowing the black rose, which Genius.com said was a metaphor for suicide, but I couldn't find that independently verified anywhere else. So, but it does.
Yeah.
It does indicate some type of it's gone and it's not coming back. Whether that's with death or just, not being there anymore. Who's to say?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, there's many ways to take it. This isn't one of my favorites on the album either, but I still love it. This is going to be a running gag, by the way.
I love that. Honestly, that kind of outro instrumental section might be one of my favorites. Outros on the whole project. I think it is very beautiful and very gorgeous, especially paired with the lyrics of the first half of the song.
Yeah, the instrumental is my favorite part of the song.
Ooh, yes.
And then we get to one of the bigger songs on the album. One of the most popular. "Love Will Save You."
Yes, It will save you. Not me, though. Bye.
Yep.
But yeah, no, that is like the conceit of the song. It is it's almost country music in its little like wink wink thing, but it's him talking about, you know, how love is this force that people need and how it will help people stay alive, and how he theorizes that even Judas could have potentially have been saved if he, you know, had lived to see Christ's resurrection and was able to be forgiven by Jesus. Talking about how love saves all his people, but it won't save me, though. That's like the kicker at the end.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of I feel this honestly kind of feels Nick Cave-esque to me.
I do get like with some of those vocals.
Yeah, his vocals are front and center on this song.
Yeah, and they're very like front in the mix.
And the instrumental is also more sparse. Like it does have that shimmering guitar, but during the verses it quiets down. So you hear Jira.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this one is. Yeah, I don't know, because it is like kind of if you kind of brush aside that it won't save me part, or maybe if you interpret that as a kind of false despair or an unreasonable type of despair, then it really is like one of the like a surprisingly like sweet and uplifting Swan song, considering some of the topics of the rest of the album.
I never saw it that way. I always saw the pessimism in this song. Like, it is hard for me to find a Swan song optimistic from this era.
I mean, like, same with me, but then, yeah, that line about, well, maybe Judas could have been saved with Jesus' love. I'm like, man, who thinks of that? That is just, like, such an interesting, like, thing that, like, you hear from, like, a super liberal Catholic grandmothers.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Like I know at this era, Jura was very much playing around with religion, and like he still does. He still ties. Well, I guess not really religion now. He more just ties general spiritual imagery into his music. But yeah, this is around where this is definitely coming off the religious imagery of Children of God, which was decidedly more pessimistic.
Mm.
And also the Burning World, which was lighter. This seems to be in between that in terms of how bright or versus how dark it is.
Yeah, because I feel like when this album does get bright, it can be pretty bright and cheery, even if maybe the intention isn't necessarily to be that, you know, unconditionally optimistic. Well, I do think that there is some type of, you know, even if it's an acknowledgement of, you know, hey, my own life sucks, but, you know, the rest of the world seems to be holding up okay. That's something. Whereas I think, yeah, you're right that a lot of more pessimistic Swan songs can just be like, actually, the world is bad for those people too.
Yeah, like the next song.
Yeah.
Failure. This is my favorite song from the album that was on the... Actually, it's my favorite song on the album, in general. And it's one of my favorite Swan songs ever. But I cannot listen to it very often. Even though I have.
Yeah, this one gets to you. It is very simple. It's repetitive. It's like 10 verses. Not even really a chorus. It's more like a way to end the verses, and it is about failure.
It's a Dylan-esque approach to songwriting.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And yeah, it like just 10 verses of raw, unadulterated self-hatred.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel the song way more than I should.
It is it's a bleak one.
Yeah,
No doubt about it.
I'd say it's one of their bleakest. Like it's up there with Goddamn the Sun.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of what this one reminded me of, just because it is that very. I think even production wise, they're both the same. Like this is another song where the production is kind of sparse, kind of minimal, and Jira's vocals are very, front to the mix. You are like
Yeah,
listening to these words.
yeah, and just the way things that he just sings it just sounds very. It's like intimate, but also just unsettling. Just like just not in the way that you would think of when you think of Swans being unsettling. It's just like he's laying his soul bare on this song.
And it is really like, well, and like you say, if you listen to it too often, it does weigh on you a lot.
Yeah, I this is definitely a top tenner for me. Like of all of Swans in general.
I don't know if I'm quite at that point. I did feel like, I don't know. I felt like I kind of like some of my Swans a bit more grandiose, but as I am listening through like the neo folk goth rock era, I'll shall appreciate this more, and I'm already like kind of, yeah, like maybe the song is like too heavy for me to fully embrace, but it is like a spectacle.
Yeah,
I cannot
I
deny
think
that it is like nothing else on the album.
like, one of the lines that gets me the most is "I've yet to be shown how to pull myself out from the sucking quicksand of failure."
Yeah, that's some imagery right there.
Yeah,
I like the
like
verse where he's talking about like his parents. Like his dad's failed attempts to get his career going. His mom struggles with alcoholism.
yeah,
That part really does like add some reality to it, especially considering what we do know about his upbringing. It adds some realness to the rest of the lines.
oh yeah, totally. It's just it's very visceral.
And how?
And then "Song for the Sun" happens, and it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, no, this one is a little bit more brighter. I like that one
Yeah,
line where he says the sun is looking down, or where it's like God. I think he said God is looking down, like crying at what he's done to me. Something like
yeah.
that. It's very like, oh, holy moly.
When I say complete opposite, I more meant just the sound. Yeah, it's still pretty depressing lyrically.
Yeah, but it is like very bright, and it's got some nice drum rolls. It's got some
Also one,
bells.
also kind of catchy, like at least in the opening.
I agree. It is.
Yeah, like it almost kind of sounds new agey.
Yeah, I guess that I do kind of get that too. Like there is so, like, yeah, it is trying for something big and just a little bit new agey. I do think it's one of the more. I know we just talked about failure, but I do think this is one of the more repetitive songs on the album too, and I do think it's all the better for it. I do think it's, yeah, it like has a nice, it has some nice ideas, and I think it like sticks to them as hard as it can.
Yeah, what I got from this song is it felt like it was like this protagonist I've mentioned before, looking to God after his failed love.
Tying it to the greater themes of the album.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess it also shows that there's also general more Christian imagery to this, just like we mentioned before.
I did kind of like how the song kind of frames his relationship with God as if God were an ex-girlfriend that, you know, he's not with right now, but, you know, wouldn't mind getting back together with if that's the way life turned out.
Yeah, Michael Gira was an ex-member of Faith Plus One.
Mm-hmm. Come all over me, Jesus. Come all over me, Jesus.
It's the second time I referenced Faith Plus One in an episode.
Well, we gotta get that up.
Yeah,
we'll find a way to reference it the next episode.
We'll find. We always find a way to reference South Park in general.
Mm-hmm. As well, one should.
Yeah. I don't have much else to say about this song. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm good. I've exhausted my thoughts on that.
Alright. Next, we got Miracle of Love.
Yeah, this one is... I kind of, you know, it's funny, all of these big songs about, like, failure and, like, God and birth and, like, kind of megalomania and power. You know, a song that, at least, like, that I read as just, like, a simple, like, kind of bad relationship, feels, like, kind of quaint compared to some of these other, like, big, heavy topics.
Yeah, and I think it's much needed for the album in terms of pacing.
It does really break that up a bit. I do think it kind of ends up being a little uninteresting compared to the others, but I did, I still think musically there's a lot of good sounds there. I do think the lyrics about these two people who are, you know, very happy in love despite the deceptions going on, and they're both making their own terms with it. You know, that's, again, like, ties into the bittersweetness that this album is embracing.
Yeah, and I did like the, particularly the line, she holds the key to the room down there, and I will follow, but I'll never fall in. I was like, they will never have sex before marriage, is how I interpreted that.
Hmm. Okay. That makes sense to me. I didn't really have any other or any standout lines that I mentioned, but I did remember looking at that line and thinking, like, yeah, there's got to be some type of incompatibility going on there.
Yeah. I also want to say that this song just straight up sounds like it could be on Children of God. Like, it's not quite as open sounding as the rest of the album.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. And now we got arguably the most famous, the most popular Swans song from before their post-rock stuff, Blind.
Yeah, this one is right away this one feels different with those, like, kind of soft 16th note hi-hats and some, like, kind of arpeggiated guitar riffs. It sounds a lot like if a lot of this album sounds like you're in a church house in the South, this kind of feels like you're getting baptized in a swamp.
Yeah. So this song is interesting in that it was not on the original release of this album.
Yeah, I'm not clear what, like, is up with that, because, like, I know, like, streaming has it on its versions, but, like, you know, RYM doesn't list it as one, Genius barely does.
I can tell you. So this was recorded around this time, but never put on this album. It was originally released on Michael Gira's solo album from 1995 called Drainland, where it was the closer. It was this exact same sound, though.
Hmm.
And
okay.
In White Light, once it went out of print, it was out of print for many years until 2015. And when they reissued in 2015, they altered some of the song lengths of these songs and also added Blind.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and now it's one of their most popular songs.
Honestly, I think with good reason, this might be my favorite song on the album, or at least one of them.
This is one of my favorites too. This is my favorite bit of Jira songwriting ever. I think this is one of the greatest written songs ever made.
All right, well, feel free, gush about it.
All right, so this is also ironically it's probably the shortest song on the album at 4.5 minutes.
Yep.
Like this is about Jira's struggle with alcohol addiction. Like this is a feature throughout a lot of his songs. It's very publicized. Like he had a huge alcohol addiction, and it made him a raging asshole during this time. In fact, there was a recording of him in an argument with Jarbo that was actually put onto the first song on Drainland.
Oh shit!
And, that was put on there while he sings "You See Through Me."
Damn.
His he has had many songs about being in this state, about being reliant on alcohol and how he's acted because of it. He even had a song on The Beggar about how the demon is still inside him, even though he's been sober for many years.
Yeah, I mean, from all the people I knew who have struggled with addictions and even are presently sober, that kind of, that like lingering feeling of disease never really goes away.
Yeah, it's like, and in this song, like he says himself, some of us are weak, and some endure. Like he said, like it's different for everybody, but clearly he can't handle it.
Yeah. So happens.
Yeah, and no amount of prayer will do anything. Like he says, I don't say a prayer for anyone. Doesn't do any good. Like I think that I'd imagine he'd been to AA a few times, and of course AA is fundamentalist. Like that,
yeah.
like they will try to convert you to Christianity and call it part of the process. So I imagine that was an inspiration for that line.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that place is super, twisty about its religious affiliations.
Yeah. The final chorus is what gets me the most. Like this is probably the greatest line in any Swan song ever. Like, I was never young. Nothing has transpired. When I look in the mirror, I feel dead. I feel cold. I am blind.
Yeah, that "I was never young" line really does kind of send shivers down my spine a bit.
Especially when you know Jira's childhood. He basically was never young. He had a fucked up childhood.
Yeah, some people have to raise themselves, kind of, and it takes a toll.
Yeah. So this is probably his most personal song ever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it really is like open and in a way that I wasn't expecting, and it's not like Jiro never talks about himself in music or his own life.
It's just something about just the way it all came together here. It just makes for a strikingly visceral image of a man who is clearly broken, but a man just bearing out his worst qualities. And yeah, I do think it's one of the greatest songs of all time.
Honestly, yeah, respect. Yeah, this no arguments here.
Well, that's all I have to say about Blind.
Yeah, that's all I have to say either. It's definitely a highlight for me, and I'm sure it'll end up being my favorite track off of the album. Once it sits with me more.
It definitely goes toe to toe with Failure for me.
Nice.
And When She Breathes is about as long as Blind.
Yeah, another short one, another Jarobi track.
Jarbo.
Jarbo, sorry. I wrote that wrong in my notes because of dyslexia. But yeah, this is another Jarbo track. I kind of like the opening to this song. It's got kind of a sinister beat. It sounds a little bit like when you play Final Fantasy VII, that power station you're in at the very beginning that you're trying to blow up, where it's like kind of cold and mechanical. That's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I can see that. Like this is also a very Children of God sounding track.
Yeah, this one, I'm figuring out through context clues when you say Children of God, you just mean, like, it's dark. It's very grim. And this stuff, I don't know what this song is about. It kind of feels apocalyptic to me.
Yeah, there's not that much lyrics in general here. This one just does feel more like a vibe song to me.
Yeah, I think it's good to say.
We're back. We're back, and we're on Why Are We Alive?
Dan Auerbach shoved the raccoon in my fucking house at like 12:19 in the night, trying to record. We're almost done with this episode, and suddenly my mom's yelling, John! I'm like, what's going on? He's like, there's a raccoon in the house. Get it out. It might have rabies. And so I have to help him. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, why did you do this, Dan Auerbach? You know his like middle name is like Quine or something.
What?
I'm like, yeah, like I found it on his Wikipedia article. Dan Auerbach, his middle name is like Quine.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I've never heard that as a name for a human. Maybe for like a giraffe or something, but anyway,
it's close to equine.
Yeah, it is close to equine. Oh my god.
So could be a name for a horse.
Freaking horse people. God.
Anyway, why are we alive?
Why are we alive?
Yeah, so this is probably the most...
I was asking you. I don't know either. It's okay.
I don't know, but... yeah, this is probably the most beautiful song on the entire album.
Yeah. I mean, it is like kind of a... I feel like it's one of the more simple or straightforward songs on the album because it is just a straightforward, well, why are we here? Why are humans alive doing this song? But I do think, like, sonically, it's beautiful. It's very big, and I think it does that topic justice, you know? It's been done a lot before, but I think Jira's spin on it works very, very nicely.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, the star of the show here is the sonicality. Just because this is like probably the most massive sounding song on the entire album.
Yeah.
Like, if the other songs are you on the album are you looking at the clear blue sky from atop a hill, this is you looking at it from atop Mount Everest.
Mm-hmm. They really did save the best for second to last in terms of letting the scale do the talking.
Yeah, this is high enough to see the Earth's curvature.
Mm-hmm. We're seeing all kinds of curves.
Yep. And that does truly make you wonder why we're alive.
Yeah, is it to see the curvature of the Earth?
Maybe.
I mean, we don't know what it is, so there's a chance that could be it.
Yeah, surely true. Time to go get my mountain gear.
Yep. I'm going to go climb K2 and then hopefully get that answer. We'll look at the curves.
Yep. Earth do be thick.
Yeah, and it's got lumps in all the places I count.
She ain't flat, she's thick.
She's big and round.
Yep.
Like two planets in one planet.
2 planets in 1 planet. So true.
In one planet.
What are we even going on about?
I don't know, man. I'm still like kind of shaking from that fucking raccoon.
Yeah.
Also, before we fully move on from that, I want to say I was literally in Austin, Texas on 6th Street yesterday, and I heard literally every single band that was performing out of every single bar was like more entertaining than 90% of the shit on Brothers. I gotta say, you do not want to be worse than all these sub Austin bands who, probably are more deserving of having like 90 records to their names. But anyway, yeah.
Can't stop shitting on brothers.
Well, Dan Auerbach needs to stop sabotaging my fucking life.
Fair. Yeah. So now we're at the final track, The Most Unfortunate Lie.
The Most Unfortunate Lie. Last track on the album.
Yep, and we end it, as we end all things, with Blasphemy.
Yep. Blaspheming.
Yep. But despite that, it kind of does feel like, if we're continuing this protagonist narrative, this feels like a moment of acceptance of his position.
It does feel like, because, like, the religious aspects are the first things that come to mind, but I do think the song could be about anything that kind of, whether it's like a religion or like a personal belief or a political belief, something that forms such a firm foundation for your life that when it does get taken away or when it does get shattered, you are kind of left in the cold. You're unsure what to do. And, obviously that happens a lot with religion, so that's why I think that does tie in there. And then, it is a song about, dealing with that fallout.
Yeah.
And then, like, as you were saying, acceptance does kind of wrap everything into, because I do, like, kind of view this as, like, one singular narrative, even if some songs, like When She Breathes, make it, not exactly clear where that fits into it, but I do think that this is, like, a singular story being told, and I do think it wraps up pretty nicely with this one.
Yeah, exactly. Even with the clapping at the end.
Clapping is not, as we all know, clapping is the opposite of a baby being born.
Yeah,
it's
totally
full circle. It's in the dictionary.
Yep, it's science.
Mathematical.
So yeah, that's White Light from the Mouth of Infinity.
And, it certainly, with a name like White Light, the album does sound like there is a lot of white light going on. It is very bright, it is very piercing, but it's also can be very mellow and introspective at points. It's very, it's a varied project, and I think that it accomplishes pretty much everything that it sets out to do.
Yeah, no, from what I have heard, apparently Michael dislikes some of the songs from this album.
I mean, he's a self-critical guy. Doesn't surprise me. He would have some...
in general, he doesn't look back from, a lot of this era fondly. Like, this Burning World and Love of Life. He just doesn't like a lot of his neo-folk stuff. Of his gothic stuff. And he is also a very forward-looking guy, too, so that would make sense.
Yeah. Every Swans album does kind of feel like, okay, this is our next thing. Let's see what we can do with it. And, like, it does take... I imagine you do have to be some level of self-critical to, move from something like White Lights into something like Soundtracks for the Blind,
Yeah.
Something that kind of keeps you from being complacent.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that album someday. Like, that should probably be its own episode.
I feel like it should, because it is 2 hours, but it is also mostly ambient, so I do wonder how long we could actually talk about it.
Yeah, I legitimately don't know what I could pit it up against.
Probably have to be the other big SY album, Daydream Nation.
Honestly, I was thinking of doing that, pitting that up with To Be Kind. I feel like that would fit better.
Yeah, I think you're right. Or, let's know what y'all think. No, because I do see, like, as far as them both being, like, noise rock albums in particular. And To Be Kind, I think, has just as much acclaim of being the big one as Soundtracks for the Blind at this point.
Oh, yeah, totally. Honestly, I feel To Be Kind is bigger than Soundtracks at this point. Like it's not like soundtracks is damn near impenetrable to get into. I feel like To Be Kind you'd have an easier time getting into generally.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the more accessible project, the more easy to explain to somebody who's not familiar with Swans.
Yeah. Like, that was definitely where I started.
Yeah.
That's for another day.
Another episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, these were our 2 albums. What would you say you would rate Goo, and what would you say you rate White Light?
And so Goo, I'd say like a 7 to an 8. Leaning towards 8. Probably just needs one more listen, and White Light is a fat 10.
Nice. And I will split the difference and say that Goo is an album I didn't used to be crazy about, but I definitely, at least not compared to other SY projects, but this one definitely, this episode made me like it more and appreciate it more, so I'm going to say that one's a 9 for sure. And White Light, I was also, expecting to... Or I guess I don't know what I was expecting. I knew that you thought very highly of this album, and I can definitely... I was blown away by a lot of the big sounds coming off, especially for, like, this era, as 80s sounding as it was to, do these types of things, these types of lyrics, these types of mood, is all very evocative. So I'll say White Light is a 9 for me as well.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And with that under the belt, should we announce what we have in store for episode 11?
Oh, yes. So, for episode 11, we will be taking a look at 2 albums that had years upon years of hype building up for them, and when they were announced, the reception was middling at best.
Kind of the opposite of our 2010 episode, where there was so much hype on Impact that faded over time. This one, all the hype was building up over a while, and then the Impact kind of dissipated it away.
Yes, we will be looking at Guns N' Roses' Chinese Democracy.
And Tool's Fear Inoculum.
Yep. My name is Mageclick.
My name is Foxx Navarro.
And before we sign off, I do want to say that on my personal channel, I did upload a trailer for my next video. It will be a video about my childhood game, Oddworld: Stranger's Wrath. So since that, I just wanted to announce that here and be ready for that whenever it comes out.
And I would also like to say you should go watch Mage's video on that when it comes out. And if you don't, I will find out where you live. I will tell Dan Auerbach that I moved to that house, and he will go shove raccoons into your place.
Yes. Take care, y'all.
Take care, y'all.